Hello everyone and welcome back to the Locked In podcast. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Dan.
Indeed. Still no football news because it's the off season. As I mentioned last week, there's not going to be much in terms of football updates, other than the fact that we will be at St Mary's this weekend for the Interlegends versus Pieface FC game. If you happen to be going, then come say hi.
Yeah.
We're on the sleeve sponsor for the Pieface team, so we'll be in and around down by the pitch and all that sort of stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Doing the similar sort of stuff to what we did with David Bentley. So
Looking forward to it.
it's got that in first, let people know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll just get straight into the news, I think. I've got 3 talking points today.
Three topics.
Indeed. This one I thought was funny, so we're going to do this one first. Obviously, it was the Champions League final last Wednesday. No, last Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah. From BBC Sport, men hid in the toilet for 27 hours to watch the Champions League final for free.
Absolute baller.
Yeah.
What a legend.
2 Belgian men have claimed they hid in a toilet at Munich's Allianz Arena for 27 hours in order to watch last weekend's Champions League final for free. They told a Belgian broadcaster VRT News they managed to get into the ground the day before the match and emerged to watch the 5-0 win. The pair uploaded a video on social media to TikTok which showed them sticking a homemade out-of-order sign on the two toilet cubicle doors before they waited in silence for more than a day as the stadium staff used the facility. We had a backpack with snacks and we played around on our phones to kill time.
They've come prepared.
Yeah.
Gone out for a picnic for the Champions League.
Yeah. The lights were on all the time and the sitting position was uncomfortable, so sleeping was almost impossible. And that made it physically and mentally difficult.
Yeah, that's mad.
Fair play, though.
Yeah.
A commitment to the cause, I rate it. But
Too right.
yeah, that was...
How did they get in there originally?
You
2
knew,
days prior?
I would imagine it was like a stadium tour or something like that.
And they've just fucking snuck off.
Yeah. I've seen
Sneaky
people do
little bastards.
similar things before. Not that, but I saw a guy do it. I want to say it was like the Oscars or the BAFTAs or something like that, and did exactly the same. He actually walked down the red carpet. This guy
What?
I watched, he snuck in
Mm.
wearing like high vis
Yeah, it's
and all the stereotypical stuff. Managed to get in, went into the toilet, stripped off the high vis and the outer stuff, and underneath was a suit.
Yeah.
Walked down in a suit, and obviously he was already inside, so he just went with red carpet, and they like directed him, and he walked down the red carpet with all the celebrities.
That's mad. Isn't it?
Yeah, I was like,
mad.
that was cool. But yeah, I mean, I kind of rate that in a way.
Yeah, too right.
It just shows the security was a bit shit, but
Of course. Well, I mean, they planned it well. The
Yeah.
fucking toilet door out of order signs. That's a nice touch.
yeah,
I've
but
got
you
a lot of
think
time for
the
that.
maintenance bloke would go, hang on, no, they're not.
I mean,
Or
I
something
reckon.
like that,
I've
but-
got a sneaky feeling there's more than one maintenance
No,
bloke for
no,
Allianz
no,
Arena.
no.
Just the one,
No,
just the
Roger.
one janitor.
Yeah,
Fucking Franz.
just Roger and his mop.
I think that's the Oxford United Stadium. I think. Yeah.
No, they don't have a janitor.
They don't even have one. Then it's-
State of it.
they just do a great pucker pie.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
They do a good pie, actually, at the Kassam.
Do you know of any people that have got into games for free before? Have you ever met anyone that's done that?
Don't know that I have, no.
I played for a team called Boscombe Celtics, which says it all really. They were the bottom division of the Bournemouth League for men's football on a Sunday morning. Gee, we were lucky if we had 10 players turn up most weeks. Like half of them hadn't been to sleep. It was a terrible situation. But one of the lads who played, he was 57 years old, right? Ex bad addict, bless him, but 30 years clean. Scouser. He went to the two Liverpool Champions League finals. Didn't pay a penny. He just went over to, I think one of them was Paris when there was the huge ruckus that went off and it was bad. And he just literally jumped over the turnstiles. He got chased for ages, to get away from it. But he was 54 years old, man. Jumping around trying to get into a game for free. I thought, credit where credit's due again, he's committed. But I wouldn't take the chances. I wouldn't do that, going there. Imagine getting on a plane all the way to another country, paying 400 quid for that, to then possibly have to watch it in a pub. What are you doing? But he got in both times. Yeah.
Yeah, well, fair play.
There you go. That's the only story I've got that's linked to that.
Yeah, I don't have any, so it's more than I've got.
Yeah.
What I thought we'd talk about next was a fantastic bit of transfer business. Unfortunately, it's by Liverpool, but in the news this week, it was obviously it's been in the news that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to Real Madrid and was going to go on a free at the end of the season, much to the dismay of the Liverpool fans, who already have defaced his mural.
Really?
So they wrote "rat" on it. Which is such a scouse insult, isn't it? But but it came out this week. I don't know. You may not have seen this. That Real Madrid actually want him for the Club World Cup, which happens in the middle of this month.
Right.
And his contract at Liverpool doesn't end until the 30th of June.
Buyout clause.
So, Liverpool said you can have him for 10 million quid. And they paid it.
Wow.
Just to have him a month early. I know why, because if they win the Club World Cup, it's about £150 million they earn from it.
Yeah.
So if he is the difference, I mean, God, if he is the difference, then they were, they were in a bad state anyway. But I suppose the risk versus reward is probably quite high for them. So but what it made me think was that they've just signed Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen.
Great signing that.
It is for £30 million, which is insane.
Yeah, it's a steal, man.
So they've effectively paid off a third of his transfer fee by letting go a player that was leaving anyway.
Yeah, genius.
So they've effectively signed him for 20 million quid, and I rate that, even if it is Liverpool.
Out of the big six, their business, transfer business in particular, second to none.
I mean, they do have some quite serious misses a lot of the time, but everyone talks about the 80 million Anthony deal. No one ever talks about the 80 million Darwin Núñez deal.
That's because Darwin Núñez was better than Anthony.
Not by much, I wouldn't say.
Really?
No, he's terrible.
I'd have taken Núñez over Anthony. I know now he seems to be performing in Spain, but I'd have taken Núñez over Anthony based on the first 10 games of performance, let's say.
Yeah, but pre-signing them, you would have taken Anthony every day of the week because no one knew anything about Darwin Núñez.
I didn't know anything about Anthony. I saw his highlight reel when he got signed. I watched his Ajax.
Anthony was sort of well touted for quite a while at Ajax. He'd had 2 or 3 good years there. And he was wanted by some big clubs. And Man United got him because they had Ten Hag.
Yeah, for £80 million up.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't really Ten Hag's fault, nor Anthony's fault, because they could have signed him in the first week of the window for 35 or something like that. They dillied and dallied like Man United do.
Shit.
And Ajax went, well, you're desperate now, so the price has trebled.
Yeah.
Fair play to them.
Yeah.
Because they were desperate and they knew they'd pay it.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not going to go into a rant about the business model of Manchester United again, but it just shows the difference. It's like Liverpool as well. They've basically got Florian Wirtz done.
Yeah.
They've beaten Bayern Munich to that, which for a German player is a big deal.
Yeah, huge.
And
what a sign in that as well. That team, the people, the individuals they're adding, it hasn't always come off for clubs.
No.
We've seen it time and time again. Look at what's just happened to PSG. They just won the Champions League. Real Madrid didn't, and they had their talisman. And I think actually getting rid of Mbappe for PSG was the best thing they could have done.
Yeah, he basically owned the club. It was ridiculous.
Oh, so stupid. But Florian Wirtz, Frimpong, I mean, incredible signings.
And Milos Kerkez is apparently the next one as well.
Yeah.
After Wirtz, they are strong.
That is, yeah.
Like
individuals.
That team was already head and shoulders above Arsenal, I would say. Position for position, there's not many Arsenal players I'd take over Liverpool players. There's probably 2. No. I'd take Saliba over Konate, and I'd take Rice over Gravenberch. That's it. I genuinely think every other, if you go position for position, they're better in every other.
I think you're right, yeah. They got to be, yeah.
Yeah, so
hands down.
The fact that they've strengthened that team is insane.
Yeah. The only one that's up for debate, and it's just debate, but it would be, for me, it's kind of a 50-50 based on recent performance this last season. Raya and Alisson. Raya kept kept Arsenal in some serious games.
I don't think he's a better keeper than Alisson, though.
I'm torn, personally.
David Raya's is more prone to mistakes than Alisson, I would say.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, I'm just saying who I'd rather have in my team, and it's Alisson all day of the week, every day of the week.
Fair
All
enough.
day of the week. There we go.
It's one of them days, day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
bad for a Wednesday.
But yeah, you know,
Yeah, great business by
it
Liverpool.
is. It's fantastic bit of business, and you can't really knock it. It's a reluctant sort of
Praise.
admiration of their business dealings. But yeah, it's just the definition of a well-run club, and you can't really knock them for it.
No.
I can see them probably winning the league for the next 3 years, unless Man City have some insane resurgence. I can't see Arsenal beating that Liverpool team.
Not at the moment. I think it just depends if some of the youngsters come into their own. You know, there's a chance, but also they need some signings.
Yeah.
For me, I think that I know Martinelli. People rate him highly. I don't see it personally. I think the
He's
technical
rubbish.
ability is poor. He's got pace, but even that's not electric.
No.
So it's like, what's he bringing to the table? He's tenacious. He tracks back a bit. I like him for that. His work ethic's fucking high.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to, if he's your starting left winger, I don't see you winning Prems. Personally, I don't.
No.
But that's just my view.
No. Yeah. Like I say, I don't, that Arsenal team. I think a world-class striker will bring them somewhere near getting there.
Mm.
You know, because there's talk of them signing Gyökeres or Sesko, and I think one of them, if they hit the ground running, which is not a given in the Premier League.
God, no.
If they hit the ground running, then they could probably give City and Liverpool a run for their money, maybe.
Yeah.
But they just never have the follow through.
No.
There's so many years of it where they're going to win the league. It's our year, and then they have a run of 6 losses and draws and all that, and they bottle it.
Yeah, it's not
It's
good, no.
it's just a repeating pattern of that, and I can't see that changing.
No.
It doesn't help that they play a fucking boring brand of football as well, because it's all
Awesome.
Pep's tiki-taka bollocks. That is falling out of favour very, very heavily.
Yeah.
And I think after watching the Champions League final, you're going to see a lot more of the
PSG had 5.
the wing play, the old school sort of Dutch style wing play.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favourite styles of football. I mean, I know it's not quite the same, but if you take it to Football Manager, I always run some variation of a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Always. So yeah, wing play is my sort of
enjoy watching.
my sort of jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more entertaining to watch
For sure.
than 70% possession and 1 shot on target. Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking boring.
Yeah.
Clearly teams have worked it out.
Yeah.
Hence why 2 heavily wing play teams ended up in the Champions League final,
Yeah.
despite losing some of their best players over the last few years.
Yeah.
You know, Inter 2 years ago lost a 35 goal a year striker, as what he was in Serie A, Lukaku.
Yeah.
And they've come back. Martinez has turned into one of the best in the world,
Yeah.
and I don't think he would have done that with Lukaku staying. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's good for the world of football.
Mm.
I mean, I don't love that PSG won over Inter. I'd rather Inter won, but yeah, I think for the brand of football that we're likely to see now, and teams having to adapt to something different, where they can't just play a low block and
Yeah.
you know
hope for the best.
just try and hope that they can't play around them. It's not that sort of thing anymore. You can't rely on a Trent as much because he lacks recovery pace. Do you know what I mean? You need a proper right back and a proper left back.
Yeah.
Old school sort of defender, quick but defender,
Yeah.
and I like that. I think that's much better for the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So
For sure.
yeah,
Exciting year of footy ahead.
Hey?
Exciting year of footy ahead.
yeah. Hopefully, I mean, I'm really interested. Obviously, we can't go one podcast without talking about Man United in some aspects. So the last talking point is that, but I'll go on to it.
What are we saying?
I'm quite amazed at how surprisingly good Man United's transfer business has been so far, in the fact that they've got it done quick.
What have they done?
They've announced Cunha.
Oh, we got Cunha.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I'm
They've
glad
put
to
out the
hear that.
actual social media post on the official account.
Yeah.
I don't think it will go through until the 1st of July, simply for the financial year thing.
Yeah.
So he goes on next year's financials.
Yeah.
Because obviously Delict, Mazraoui, all that are on this year's financials. So
Dog.
I can see that
Sorry.
going through next year, next financial year.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got Cunha, and then the last talking point I was going to say is it came out in the media that Brian Mbeumo has publicly stated that he wants a Man United move over anyone else.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
So
that's
that-
surprising.
Immediately, that is spot on perfect for Man United because they needed another number 10, which is where he will probably play in the Amorim system. I know he's more of a right winger stroke striker at Brentford, but I think that Amorim's 10s are very much sort of half wingers. They sort of sit between a traditional 10 and a winger. So I can see, in the same way that Cunha plays on that sort of left-hand side of the attacking midfield for Wolves, I think Mbeumo would suit that on the right-hand side. But yeah, I think it's perfect for Man United in the sense of it's the right profile of player, but also the fact he's come out publicly and said he only wants a Man United move means that they're not going to fall into a bidding war,
Yeah.
which means they're not likely to overpay too much. I mean, I've heard the figure of 50 million being thrown around.
It's a
I
bit
think it will
pricey.
be more than that.
More from
Yeah,
Mbeumo?
I think it will be.
I think that wouldn't be great business then, I think, at that price tag. I'm not saying that he won't bring you 15 goals a year, but
Well, 35 between them. Cunha and Mbeumo, 35 league goals plus however many assists.
it's very impressive for the two teams they played at. But I think the reason why they could have that level of impact is because the freedom of play. They were able to be expressive in like their own way as two great talented players.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to build a talented team, starting 11, you almost can't afford to have that kind of independent flair, like I need to be just given free roam, like a Cole Palmer kind of situation.
I can see that with Cunha, not so much with Mbeumo.
Yeah.
But I think Mbeumo is a bit more of a team player than you may think.
Oh no! I think he is a team player. What I'm saying is he kind of played his own game at Brentford. He was
Yeah,
allowed
I
to
get
do
that.
that because he had stability behind him, and it gave him that freedom.
Equally, though, I think if you look at Amorim's Lisbon team, he had Gonçalves and Trincao, who were very much like that as well. They were expressive players. So I think that is the profile. And then he tends to have a big, powerful, quick striker.
Which I hope
Which
is
is
this.
why-
Who's this young kiddie we got? The bloody Arsenal academy lad. Who's like 18.
Chidobe.
Yeah,
He's
him.
too young. He won't be the starting striker ever. Well, he will ever, but not this season. He's too young.
He came on the pitch for 30 minutes the other day in that friendly and scored 2
Yeah,
goals.
against Hong Kong.
Well,
It's
I
not.
know, but still.
He didn't score in the league. He looked a little bit. He's very much a diamond in the rough. He is a generational talent, but the mistake that they've made in the past with people like Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rashford, even up to Garnacho, is they put too fine a point on playing them too often. They can't develop at a proper rate because they don't have an understudy. If he's the starter, you look at Højlund. Højlund was one of the best prospects in the world at a striker when they signed him.
Scored 11 goals in Serie A for Atalanta the season before we bought him.
Yeah, at 19.
Yeah, I don't see that makes you one of the leading prospects,
Yeah,
does it? You reckon?
he was touted as one of the best prospects in the world. I would say
Really?
at striker, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
and
thought-
that's why they paid so much
Yeah.
for him. It was
I hadn't heard of him until United were looking at him.
I'd only
At
heard of
all.
him because of Football Manager and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, he was not. You know, he's not. I'm not saying he was on the level of like Mbappe and that sort of level of talent. But he was well touted as one of the better prospects at striker. But he is. I still think that there is a player there
So the Scholes
with
didn't he?
Højlund. I didn't see that interview, but
Have you not?
no. But I think because he suits what Amorim wants. He's big. He's quite physical,
Yeah,
and
he
he's
loves
very
getting stuck
very
in.
quick.
Yeah.
So I think that if he had, I think what he needs now is a loan, a move away for a year. Well, there's a chance that he's actually leaving. I've
Højlund.
heard- yeah,
Already?
Inter Milan. Yeah, I've heard that Inter Milan want him.
That's a very strange choice. You've
Well,
just
Italy,
won the,
innit?
yeah, but you've just won the you've just come second in the Champions League, and you want to bring in a striker that scored what? What he scored 8 goals this year? Was it
I don't know, but when you look at what they've got behind Martinez, it's not a lot. They've got Marco Arnautovic and Joan Correa,
And
who have both been shit this year.
is Kalinoglu still there, or did he
He's a
move?
centre defensive midfielder.
No, I know. No, I don't mean literally behind. So I mean, as in is he in the Inter Milan team still?
Yeah.
So
There's a
talent
chance
there.
he might leave, but yeah, he's still there. He's getting on now.
Yeah, probably 33.
He's touching 30. He's not that old.
Oh right.
But he's not going to be the future, is what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, but apparently that might be a thing. If that's the case, then I wish him all the best. But I think if he was to do a year away back in Italy, back on where he's familiar,
Yeah.
get your scoring form back, much like Anthony's done. I'm not saying Anthony's coming back because he won't, but get your confidence back, and then come into a team that contains a Gyökeres or a Sesko, a European standard striker, and learn from them.
Yeah.
Because he was never bought with the intention to lead the line. It was just the lack of follow-up signings that has meant that there's no choice.
Yeah.
And the fact that the other striker they signed turns out he's actually a centre attacking midfielder.
Who's that?
Xerxes.
Oh, him, yeah.
They bought him as a striker, but he doesn't suit the striker role because he's a bit same sort of profile as Harry Kane, where he drops really deep.
Yes.
And it's just not the type of striker that Amorim wants. That's why he was playing him in midfield.
Yeah.
And I think he did play quite well when he played.
I like Xerxes.
I like him. He's got that sort of that X factor thing where you just think that there's always a chance he's going to do something quite special when he gets on the ball. Whether it's like a little touch around the corner or a little bit of skill, or do you know what I mean? I like him like that. I like the players like that.
Yeah, he looks safe is the best way I can describe it. He seems very comfortable in possession. I'm not saying that he kept it very well in this last season, because I saw a few games where he was ropey, but fundamentally, if you've got the confidence to be taking the ball under pressure, that's what you want first and foremost. Someone that's hungry to get it and then try and work with it.
Yep.
And he's playing 90% of the game with his back to goal. That's what I noticed with Xerxes. Most of the game he's playing with his back to goal, and he's just got to try and set other people up, which I thought he did all right with.
Yeah, well, I can see him being one of the backup 10s this year, as opposed to the backup striker. I think it will likely be. Well, I've heard. So I think what Man United are going to try and do, if the sales are what they think they're going to be, so Rashford, Anthony, maybe Højlund, hopefully Onana, and some others. There's a load that are leaving, but just on what they're saving on wages will pay for a decent level of player in terms of who's leaving anyway. So if they get rid of Rashford, that's 320 grand a week.
That's so mad.
Lindelof 120. Eriksen's 150. Johnny Evans, I think, was 50 or 60 grand a week. Heaton was 50 or 60 grand a week.
Tom Heaton was still paying him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's quite a considerable amount of money to save just on wages, especially if they can get rid of Sancho as well, because he's on a lot of money.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw, it is confirmed that Chelsea are sending him back
to United. Yeah.
Yeah, they're paying the penalty. They're paying the £5 million penalty and sending him back.
Yeah.
Fucking how embarrassing.
Well, I hope that we can make him work.
If he ever touches the grass for Man United again, I don't know that I could support this club anymore.
Based on what? Well, I know his attitude fucking stank and stuff, but it's a young kid.
Don't care. Don't act like that.
And you know what I'm like when it comes to doing things the right way for the team. Like, I'm an adamant, like, black and white. You just do it fucking properly. If you're going to be a child about it, get out. But if you can get him ticking, if you can get him to season 1 in Dortmund level, you've got something that will win you games. And I don't know why you wouldn't want that with a club that isn't currently winning games.
No, I don't want a toxic, negative attitude like that anywhere near the team.
My point is, what if that's changed? What if he comes back refreshed and he has a different mindset? Would you not want that sort of level of talent in your team?
No.
Really?
He could be messy, and I wouldn't want that attitude in there.
Oh, that's
because if you get those toxic players back in the team like Rashford, that's why Rashford went, was because of his attitude.
Yeah.
He was a Man United academy graduate, Manc born and bred, and Amorim took one look at him and went, "Your attitude stinks. Get the fuck out of my club."
Yeah.
He now can't, even if Sancho came back with his cap in hand, begging for forgiveness, based on the premise he set with Rashford, he will never play for Man United again.
Fair.
And the one thing that I hate more than anything is petulance, and the thing that finished it with Sancho for me was that freedom comment. When Rashford moved to Aston Villa, he commented on an Instagram post, "Freedom with praying hands."
Yeah.
Man United are still paying your wages, you prick. You are still contracted to Manchester United.
Yeah, you don't like that.
You do not publicly come out like that. No. You can say what you want about Ten Hag's training. You can fall out with the manager, fine, whatever. That happens. But when it's like that, and that is nothing but spite from a team who showed you a lot of compassion when you had mental health problems, and Ten Hag let you go for 3 months, still getting paid, 3 months away because you had family issues or whatever it was, And that's how you treat a club that did that.
That's madness. Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
Fair enough.
Honestly, I'd give him to someone. I don't let him go on a free.
Yeah.
Don't care. Like he could turn back into the season 1 Sancho, but at another club.
Yeah.
But it's not like he fucking set the world alight, did he? At Chelsea.
No, far from it.
Apparently, Chelsea were willing to pay the 25 million. They couldn't agree on wages.
Is that what it was?
Because he came out publicly and said he was willing to take a wage cut to move to Chelsea. Because he's from London.
Yeah, yeah.
So he wanted to move back to London.
Yeah.
And apparently, push came to shove, and they were actually talking about the contract, and he wanted too much.
Really?
So they sent it back.
Madness, isn't it?
It's just
Crazy.
yeah.
Entitlement.
Yeah, it's. I've got absolutely no time for it because there's ample example of people his age and younger who act with professionalism.
Yeah, and get stuck in.
So there's no excuse.
No.
Frankly, there's no excuse to act like that.
No.
You've earned yourself generational wealth
Yeah.
through Manchester United, and they put a lot of faith in you and a lot of trust, and that's how you treat them. I don't. All because you fell out with one bloke.
Yeah.
You fell out with a manager who's not even there anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that for the betterment of the team.
Yeah.
Even if we did need a profile like that, which I don't think we do, because I don't think he suits Emery's system at all.
Mm.
But even if we did need that profile, I would sooner sell him for 15 million and play one of the kids, or bring in someone of a lower quality who's a team player.
Yeah,
Bring
yeah.
back Scott McTominay. Do you know what I mean? And play him at the 10. Not that they ever would,
No.
but that's what I mean. That's the sort of attitude I want. Is Scott McTominay's attitude.
Yeah, cool.
He was sold for the right reasons. I'm not one of those brigade that say, "Oh, bring him back." Never should have sold him. They should have sold him.
Yeah.
It was the right time to get rid of him. But
Yeah.
that's my reasoning with Sancho and why I couldn't give a shit where he goes. I honestly don't care.
As long as it's not back at United.
Yeah, anywhere but United
Fair enough.
or Oxford. Not going there either.
Indeed.
Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, I was happy with the Mbeumo story. I think it was a bit of a pipe dream when I saw the story, and that everyone was saying, well, these two, Cunha and Mbeumo, would be perfect for United. They suit these positions. I thought no chance we're going to get both of them, because there's no way the top 6 don't want them.
You don't think?
Do you know? No, that's what I mean. I think they do want them.
I'm saying I don't think they would.
Well, Newcastle tried to hold talks with Mbeumo, so they definitely wanted him.
Sorry, I am thinking City, Arsenal, Liverpool. I'm saying that I don't think those two players walk into those teams.
I wouldn't say no. They don't walk into the team, but
They could add like strength to the squad.
yeah, exactly.
But that's a mad thing to say, in it, that you're overjoyed with the signing of 2 players that are going to United, the biggest club in the world, or second biggest club after Madrid, and yet we're overjoyed that we got players that did well for basically bottom half teams in the Prem. It is mad when you think
Not
about
Brentford,
it.
but
They're a
Brentford
mid-table team.
Brentford were top 10, so
Mid-table team.
yeah. But just what I'm saying is, you look at how the German league works. That's exactly what Bayern Munich's built off.
Yeah, true.
Is the best player from
feeders.
mid-table teams.
Yeah, the feeders.
And you build a team of them, and
Yeah.
they win the league.
Yeah.
So it's. I'm
I
not
hope
saying
it
United
works.
are winning the league.
Yeah,
right.
careful.
But
be lucky to get fucking
no, I think
top half.
I can see if they bring in a world-class striker. So if they bring in Sesco or Gyökeres, which is what I've heard in the news, is that whoever Arsenal don't sign, they're going to go for.
Right.
Because obviously the first pick to both of them, as far as we know, is Arsenal. But you've got the Amorim link to Gyökeres, and there obviously was interest there because this story's been floating around for ages. And Sesco is obviously coming from an RB Group club in Leipzig, who Man United's director of football, Christopher Vivell, used to work for the RB Group, so he has a very good relationship with all the RB players. So there is a link to both of them. In the same way that the Liam Delap story came because Jason Wilcox was originally at Southampton and City.
Right.
So when he worked at City, he worked with Liam Delap.
Yeah.
So that's where that story came from.
Yeah.
But I think, not getting Delap may be a blessing in disguise because it's going to force them to go for someone a lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Yeah,
there we go.
lots of transfer business.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, I think we should end on a little reminder about the event Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday the 7th of June.
Mm-hmm.
St Mary's Stadium, 3 o'clock kick-off. There's still tickets available. Not many, but there are still tickets available if you want them. We'll be down there if you come in. See you there.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Keep well.